cover story. This week we are going to be taking a look at the elections in Jammu and Kashmir and find out what makes these an elections with a difference. But there are a couple of new things that are at play over here. One, of course, is the presence of the BJP with its high-profile Mission 44. The other is the natural calamity that recently gripped the state when floods hit the town of Srinagar. We're going to find out how much of an impact these had on the election scenario over here. And third is the role of the separatists. Even though the first phase of elections has just been over, there hasn't really been a call for a hartal or a boycott. So are people going to be allowed to vote according to their aspirations? That's what we're going to find out in this edition of Cover Story. It's a cold November in the valley as the state of Jammu and Kashmir goes to the polls. What is always interesting about this state is that from the 87 seats, as many as 37 are from Jammu, 46 from Srinagar, with the remaining 4 from Ladakh. And it is not necessary that all the 3 parts of the state vote along the same lines. With the BJP fast making inroads, it is expected that the party will hold sway in Jammu, while the valley will be bitterly contested between the 2 regional parties, Omar Abdullah's National Conference Party and Mufti Muhammad Saeed's People's Democratic Party, with the Congress really being reduced to the role of a supporting caste.
प्रदेश की ताकत है, उस ताकत के भरोसे ही प्रदेश को आगे ले जाना है। बर्बाद किसने किया? 50 साल से आपने जम्मू कश्मीर किसके हवाले किया? क्या पाया आप लोगों ने? जरा सवाल तो पूछो उन लोगों को। क्या 2 परिवार ही कश्मीर पर राज करेंगे क्या?
Youngsters, I sat with a lot of people here, all my friends, my family friends and all those people in the valley. There is a frustration of a family rule. Both the families have been ruling, in fact 3 families have been ruling the valley in turns, you know. And there is no progress as far as the state is concerned. I'm not talking only about Kashmir, I'm talking about Jammu and Ladakh also. It's basically the entire J&K state. 30 years on, we have not seen much difference in the state. So now the new generation, the next generation which have come into the fore, who have now voting rights, have started thinking that what they have got out of this family's rule in this state.
For sitting Chief Minister Omar Abdullah, it is a tough ride against the anti-incumbency in the state. His government's apparent apathy during the recent floods has angered the locals. Moreover, his detached rule by remote control, his lack of connect with the people are all working against him.
Omar Abdullah came as a new idea, but unfortunately he botched it up too soon. He perhaps thought that his family legacy would carry him through, and that evaporated in the very first year of his rule. But then he never tried to reach out to the people. He in fact looked for those lifelines from Delhi, which came from Rahul Gandhi mainly. In 2010, when so many young people got killed in Kashmir in street protests, it was Rahul Gandhi who came out and said, no, we need to give time to this young man. Congress is equally responsible for what Omar Abdullah has done.
I have all the sympathies for Omar. I don't see him in that light more as a politician than as a human being. I feel he's a good human being. And the only problem is that, you see, he lost the touch with his people. That will not have to be only blamed on Umar. It will have to be blamed on the people around.
Not only outperformed the PDP Congress government, we've outperformed possibly every government in the past. But I understand that there is so much to do. I mean, we've come out of a turmoil of 2 decades. So the sheer enormity of the challenges that we have, and Umar Congress government, we've outperformed possibly every government in the past. But I understand that there is so much to do. I mean, we've come out of a turmoil of 2 decades. So the sheer enormity of the challenges that we have, and Omar Abdullah is a leader who, gives encouragement to a lot of expectations. He's an iconic youth leader. So the expectations are huge, sometimes unrealistic, but we have gone beyond what we had promised. We have done more.
What has not helped Omar is that his father, the much more lovable Abdullah, is missing from the election campaign. Farooq is in London undergoing a kidney transplant. Unlike his son, Farooq had a much more emotional connect with the voters. As an analyst pointed out, while Omar reacts with his brain, Farooq reacts from his heart. And the people of Kashmir are an emotional race.
Farooq, when you compare to his son, Farooq was more closely linked to his people because whatever you call it, his rhetorics, theatrics, whatever. Farooq would go and sit, enter a village home, go to the hearth, tell the lady who was cooking rice there, pour some for me, and he would eat. I have seen him do it. That is what is more important for a Kashmiri than the road you are building outside his home. Kashmir is a better off place than any other Indian state, developmentally. There are no homeless in Kashmir.
Look, when Omar Abdullah was projected as Chief Minister candidate in 2002, he lost his own election. He could not win his seat. Then the National Conference changed the leadership. They said in their manifesto that this time we have requested Dr. Farooq Abdullah is come back and he will be our Chief Minister candidate. So the votes were given in the name of Dr. Farooq Abdullah, in the name of Ghulam Nabi Azad, and in the name of Mufti Muhammad Saeed. There were 3 chief ministerial candidates. So end of the day, you found a 4th person para-dropped from Delhi to become the chief minister. So that was his, I think, first negative which he hit, and the way, the shabby way he treated his father, and I think that also put off the people. And then he got into that cronyism, which is generally associated with a group of young men who go about as politicians.
Farooq Saab, it was decided Farooq Saab had served the state. Farooq Saab is a leader of a national identity. It was time for him to serve at a national platform as a cabinet minister, as one of the most senior cabinet ministers. He served there. At the same time, he was involved with state politics. A lot of political decisions were taken with complete consensus and unanimity.
Around in an RD, the Kashmiri will not like it. You have to come and do what his father did, take Shabana Azmi on a pillion ride in Lal Chowk. People damned him for that, but in their heart of heart, they were saying, okay, to sadak pe hai, bichara hi. You know, once what happened, he was going to the secretariat as the chief minister. There was a person who was pulling a hand cart. Farooq Abdullah came down, helped him with the hand cart. Kashmiri said, oh, to niche utar ke usne to usko help kiya, sir. Why are you trying to damn him for this?
Farooq has a deep charm. And he was at one point of time man of the masses. If he enters any room in Kashmir, out of 10 he will at least know 5 people by name. But Omar Abdullah doesn't have that advantage. He doesn't know anybody. He hasn't studied in Kashmir. He hasn't been brought up in Kashmir. He has not played in Kashmir. Perhaps he might not have walked any street in Kashmir.
To Omar's credit, it is not as if his administration has not delivered. He has done his bit on the Bijli Sadak front. But where he has failed is appealing to the Kashmiri psyche.
Take even Umar's constituency, Gandharbal, from which he dumped and ran away. It has a central university, it has the best of roads, it has a huge hospital coming up, it has an administrative complex. What else did the people want there? You know, what matters in Kashmir, probably in the rest of India, that you would be knowing better than me, is how closely you are contact on ground with the people. That was a touch with Omar last, with the people. He is probably more Western educated. He believes in more social rectitude, which doesn't gel well. You have to come and sit with me on my paddy land and have my cup of tea. You may get influenza after that. You have to eat out of my hand. I will come and I will embrace you. An old lady will come and kiss your forehead. If you think this is going to be your next bout of influenza, that doesn't gel with Kashmir. This was Umar's problem.
Kamunsi, you're basically talking about governance. You're talking about a governance deficit. But if you look at all the areas of governance, be it the power sector, health, roads, education sector, name one sector where we have not outperformed every previous government in the history of the state.
It is not easy to pinpoint exactly when Omar lost the voter, but most agree that this was within the first year of his rule, beginning perhaps with his immature offer of resignation when accused in a sexual harassment case, the student protests after the Baramulla firing, and the manhandling of the rioters by the security forces. All this didn't help establish him with a leader who has a grip on the state. And then of course there is the Shopian case, the rape and murder case of 2009, where Omar was accused by the locals of covering up the rape and murder of two women, Asiya and her pregnant sister-in-law Niloufar. The local sentiment then was that Omar was acting pressure from New Delhi. As a reporter, covering the PDP, covering both the Abdullahs, which chief minister is more accessible?
At large, he himself would tell you in off-the-record conversations, probably if you are very close to him, that there had been a problem of a disconnect. Remember, one of the major issues during his term as the chief minister was the Shopian alleged rape and murder case. And all these years down the line, if you ask him today what went wrong, he would tell you that it was disastrous on his part to have gone to that press conference and said that prima facie it does not seem to be a case of rape and murder, it's simply a drowning. That probably happened because he did not connect with the reality and the perception and how people actually of Kashmir react to various situations. A clever chief minister, a clever Omar Abdullah, these many years down the line.
A clever Omar Abdullah would be a Farooq Abdullah?
Well, I would say so. If he were in the same situation now, he would react to that situation differently, and he would definitely not make the statement the way he did then on this whole issue.
Omar Abdullah basically never related himself with this place. He came here like someone would come, he would be, if a young recruit goes into the IAS and then he's allotted Jammu and Kashmir cadre. He behaved exactly like that.
No, Priya, I very strongly feel that Omar Abdullah is a Rahul Gandhi of J&K state. He probably went on a wrong pitch because when you get anything in your family, hierarchies, you don't respect that what you have got. And that is what people are talking. They want to end the family rules here. Today, I can very surely say that in this elections, Congress is out, National Conference is out. Let's not debate about them, of their, coming to power. Now I think there are two parties, which is PDP and BJP, who are going to form or whatever situation we'll see after the results.
The Abdullahs are as famous in the valley as the famous chinar trees over here. But the question really is, will Omar be able to survive the political storm of the coming elections, or will he meet the same political fate as the fallen chinar tree behind me? Because there have been questions about his leadership style. People here complain that he just simply doesn't have the same emotional connectivity as his father. They complain that his rule seems very detached, remote control-like. And more recently, during the floods, his state administration simply failed to strike the right note with the victims, who are now complaining that the state just didn't do enough. Challenging Omar is the resurgent Mehbooba Mufti, who is the face of the PDP campaign. She is also an MP from Anantnag and is not contesting these elections herself. Instead, her plan is to ensure that her father, popularly known as Mufti Sahib, is elected Chief Minister. This may be a smart move, as Mehbooba clearly doesn't seem to have the same mass appeal as her father.
It's absolutely smart because you see, father has more acceptability in the party and among the people. And then if this time she would say, I am the chief ministerial candidate, then they couldn't talk about against the dynastic rule. Because people would tell her, if Farooq Abdullah installed his son, so is Mufti installing his daughter.
Mehbooba Mufti, it is very public knowledge, is not acceptable within the party. She's perceived to be extremely arrogant, pushes her way through, does not consult the fora of the party, and at times it's even said that she does not consult her father on decisions. And there was a rally in South Kashmir, where South or North Kashmir a few days back, where Mehbooba Mufti categorically said that I am your chief ministerial candidate and the person sitting next to me is your finance minister. But that was not covered in the media, while Mufti Sayyid is saying that he is the CM candidate. So these two poles have always existed. The father-daughter poles have always existed in PDP, and there are very clear indications that there are two factions.
Mufti Sahib had steered the ship out of the turbulent waters very efficiently, and Jammu and Kashmir had seen a government that made a difference into the lives of the people. Suddenly, overnight, the pressures of the security forces had gone, the tensions with Pakistan had disappeared, the firing on the borders had gone.
In fact, it is interesting that while Mehbooba is not contesting any seat herself, Omar is contesting from 2 seats, and neither of these is the family bastion of Ganderbal. This has led to allegations that he is running away from a losing seat in search of new pastures.
I mean, the performance has been so bad that even the Chief Minister of the state had to leave his bastion, Ganderbal, and file nomination from 2 places. Not only that, the veteran leaders from National Conference are quitting.
I'm not very concerned about that. In fact, what I would like to do once this election is over and God willing I've won both seats is to have my father contest from one of them. And I'm very keen that he doesn't end his political career with his parliamentary election loss as his last election. Now, I could very easily have fought 1 assembly seat and then forced one of my other victorious colleagues to vacate a seat for him, which wouldn't have been fair.
Ganderbal people where Umar went, where the constituency they had for 39 years and which he dumped finally, only say that he was not accessible to them. They're not saying he didn't do their job. They have a central university, they have roads, they have hospitals, they have everything. And probably I think that constituency has better development than any other place in the state. And funds-wise, if you see, Umar must have done his best to give funds to that place. But what they see is that he promised, I will make a home here, I will live here. He didn't live here.
A former Chief Minister, Mufti Mohammad Saeed, has a Congress background and even formed a government with Congress support. During the initial part of the campaign, the PDP indicated that it would not mind doing business with the BJP, but after Modi's rebuff asking the state to choose the BJP over the 2 clans, he has now sharpened his attack on the BJP. But as analysts will tell you, all bets are off post polls when the parties go shopping for numbers.
I have always been saying that in politics there are no permanent friends or enemies. This is more true about the regional parties of Kashmir than anywhere else in the country. Both of them are rattling saber against each other. They will, what you technically say, sleep with the enemy to keep the other party out of power.
Doing business with a government, any government in New Delhi, is a business of any state government. And most of all of a government like Jammu and Kashmir, which has so many issues to deal with. So we can't remain aloof. But that is one thing. Allying with them is out of question, politically, as the NC have done.
This really brings us to the new kid in the valley, the BJP. The saffron outfit is hoping to replicate the recent Maharashtra and Haryana win in the state. But privately, they are skeptical of the valley, where it is hard to spot a BJP flag except in select Kashmiri Pandit pockets.
People have come out on the streets defying their orders. They have come on the streets today and they have voted very silently to the person, whoever it may be, for development. They want the kids to grow. They want the children to progress. They want their families to progress. They want to lead a normal life because they're tired of smelling gunpowder. They're tired of smelling. And what I strongly feel is that feel of development, that feel of progress, probably people must have seen in this Prime Minister who only talks about development.
Chances in the valley, they are trying their best to get some seats in the valley, but BJP is not so naive not to know that they are not going to get any major chunk of seats in the valley. Their focus is on the Jammu region and on the Ladakh region, and I think they will do quite well in those, because this time BJP has 11 seats in the 87-member state legislative assembly. And I see them getting anything more than 25 in the coming assembly. And that will be a huge, huge tally for the BJP.
What the party is hoping for is a migrant Pandit vote to swing a few seats its way. And interestingly, it is fielding young professional faces such as Dr. Hina Bhatt from a seat in Srinagar instead of
the BJP.
What the party is hoping for is a migrant Pandit vote to swing a few seats its way. And interestingly, it is fielding young professional faces such as Dr. Hina Bhatt from a seat in Srinagar instead of the hardcore party faithful. We are here outside the home of Dr. Hina Bhatt, who, as you know, is one of the few BJP candidates hoping to make it from the valley. But what is interesting, and what could also be part of the challenge that she is facing, is that on the way here, when she gave us a certain set of directions to her house, I tried to pass them on to my driver. But the minute he heard that she was a BJP candidate, he refused to listen to her, took his own set of directions, and in the end, we came through a roundabout route to her house. It's a small example, but basically this are the kind of challenges that the BJP will be facing over here. Can they make a mark? Can they convince the people to vote? That's what we're going to be asking her when we talk to her. Here we are with Hina Bhatt, who is a candidate from Amira Kadal in Srinagar, and also a BJP candidate. How are the chances of your party over here?
See, we are really working hard, and people have really made their mind. They want to change. And earlier, as we never had any other party other than National Conference and PDP, now they have the better chances for their development, for the growth of Kashmir in every sense. So I believe people have decided in their minds, maybe they're not talking about voting it, they are not speaking it out clearly, but they have made their mind that they will vote.
It is certainly not going to be easy for the BJP to make inroads in this half of the state, which views its saffron ideology with suspicion. The BJP has tried hard to dissuade the skeptics, harping more on development than traditional party talking points like doing away with Article 370. And they are hoping that for a generation that is looking for jobs and education, the Modi mantra might just work.
Article 370 constitutional things might be things of debate, but if I don't have food to eat at home, what will I do to 370? Yaar? If I don't have education to me, what will I do to 370? Whether 370 there or not there, if 370 being in J&K in the state, what has it given to the people?
So I don't see that the Kashmiris believing seriously that 370 will go, that the permanent resident rules will also be changed. Kashmiris don't think Delhi is so foolish that they will give Kashmir on a platter to separatism again. So their main issues are employment, their main issues are development, their main issues are health care. Then their main issues are whether when I called at your office, was I shooed out or did you receive me with a smile and yet did not do my job? So Walter Lawrence writes about Kashmir that what is most important to a Kashmiri is that you have to lend your ear to him. It doesn't matter whether you do his job or not. Campaign is wonderful. They are doing wonderfully. Their Muscat, the star campaigner is Narendra Modi, and the campaign is being run in his name. It's not BJP as such. It is probably Modi and his personality and the mantra, and that I think is caught up with the Jammu region. Most of the seats the BJP is going to win would be lost by the Congress, and that will also damage the NC there. Because if the Muslim vote you believe will get divided, and if the Hindu vote we believe will be completely polarized because of the Modi factor, then the NC will also lose in that, PDP will also lose in that region, and the direct gains will go to Modi.
A party that would be against the special status of J&K, a party that would be divisive, a party that would aim to divide the people of J&K, and a party that would aim to polarize the people on the basis of religion or region. Whichever that party is, that party will always be untouchable for us.
I have not seen her.
But just how uphill is Modi's task was evident when we caught up with a family in downtown Srinagar. A young entrepreneur, Shaukat Bhatt, was lucky to escape the fury of the recent floods. But living in a one-bedroom, cramped flat with his family of two, neither he nor his 9-year-old daughter Shabib hesitated in voicing their apprehensions about a BJP government.
उन्होंने एक बार मुझे याद नहीं है कौन सी प्लेस है वहाँ पर एक ने बोला था उन्होंने बहुत सारे उनकी प्लेस की टोपी लगाई उनकी ड्रेस लगाई मगर मुसलमानों की क्यों नहीं लगाई उन्होंने बोला कि मैं इनको ऐसी ना झूठ में खुश नहीं करना चाहता हूँ तो वो मतलब मुसलमानों को पसंद नहीं करे तो हम क्यों करें.
Shabib is hoping to meet Modi when he visits the valley early December to campaign. And it is skeptics like these that Modi and his team will have to assuage when he finally arrives in Kashmir. Will he be able to turn this valley of doubts into a valley of hope? That really is a big question over here.
If he decides that he has to follow the Vajpayee line, I am sure he will be able to carry it because Mr. Vajpayee had so many strings attached to it, because he headed a very large coalition in which people perhaps sabotaged it also at certain points of time. But Mr. Modi has the advantage of having numbers and the authority. One hopes that he brings it to the fore and actually applies it to, and that would perhaps, in my opinion, be his route to statesmanship.
Quiet flows the dull lake. But don't be fooled by the calm of these still waters, for there are a lot of interesting combinations that work over here that makes these elections a very interesting watch indeed. But from us, that's all this week. Thank you for watching Cover Story, and we'll see you again same time next week.